3 weeks ago, my friend Daniel sat across from me at lunch and said something that made my blood run cold. He said I found out she has been lying to me for 2 years, not small lies. She took out a $30,000 loan in my name without telling me. She told me she was working late when she was actually meeting her ex-boyfriend. She convinced our friends that I was controlling her to justify her nights out. And here's the worst part. When I confronted her, she cried and said she would change, so I forgave her, again. You won't believe what happened next. 2 days later, Daniel called me from a hospital emergency room. She had thrown a glass at his head during an argument. He had 7 stitches. The police were involved. And when I visited him that night, he looked at me with hollow eyes and said, I think I've been making excuses for her for so long that I forgot what a normal relationship looks like. How did I let it get this far? Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel if you are tired of pretending everything is fine when it is not. Hit that notification bell because what I'm about to share could save you years of pain and thousands of dollars in therapy bills. Here is the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you. There are certain behaviors in a relationship that should be absolute deal breakers, not negotiable, not forgivable, not excusable. We are taught from childhood to forgive, to give second chances, to believe that love conquers all. But let me be clear. There are actions that do not just hurt, they burn relationships to the ground. To forgive them is to commit an act of self-destruction. Daniel is not alone. I have seen this pattern repeat itself in dozens of men over 40. Good men, successful men, men who built businesses and raised families. Men who somehow convinced themselves that tolerating the intolerable was what commitment looked like. Let me tell you about another man I know named Gregory. Gregory was a high school teacher, respected in his community, loved by his students. His wife Vanessa was a real estate agent. On the surface, they looked like the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, Vanessa had turned their marriage into a psychological war zone. It started small like it always does. She would make jokes about Gregory at dinner parties. Oh, do not ask him about finances. He can barely balance a checkbook. He decided to start running again. Let us see how long this lasts. Everyone would laugh and Gregory would smile uncomfortably, feeling his dignity evaporate. Then came the public humiliation. Vanessa would undermine Gregory's authority in front of their teenage son. Your father does not understand technology, she would say. Your father is too old-fashioned to get it. Their son started treating Gregory with the same contempt his mother showed. But Gregory told himself it was just her sense of humor. She didn't mean anything by it. He was being too sensitive. Then, one day, Gregory discovered that Vanessa had been systematically lying to him for years. Small lies at first. I bought this dress on sale. I'm working late. He is just an old friend from college. But the lies grew. Secret credit cards, hidden shopping trips, inappropriate text messages with a former colleague. When Gregory finally confronted her, Vanessa did what manipulators always do. She flipped the script. She cried. She told him he was paranoid, controlling, making something out of nothing. She convinced him that his suspicions were the problem, not her lies. This is what we call gaslighting. It is the slow erosion of your reality until you can no longer trust your own perception. You start questioning everything. Did I really see what I thought I saw? Am I overreacting? Am I the crazy one here? Gregory stayed. He forgave her. He gave her another chance, and another, and another. 5 years later, Gregory is a shadow of the man I once knew. He has anxiety, depression, high blood pressure from the constant stress. He walks on eggshells in his own home, never knowing which version of Vanessa will show up today. The loving wife or the vindictive stranger? Here is what Gregory did not understand until it was almost too late. Certain behaviors are not mistakes. They are choices. A deliberate choice to deceive, a calculated choice to humiliate, a conscious choice to control. And when a woman makes these choices repeatedly, she is showing you exactly who she is. Let me break down the behaviors that should be absolute deal breakers. The first is systematic lying. I'm not talking about a white lie to spare your feelings about a bad haircut. I'm talking about a woman who creates a parallel universe and forces you to live in it. She lies about where she was, who she was with, what she spent money on. She constructs elaborate stories and gets angry when you dare to question them. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. Every lie, even a small one, is a crack in that foundation. Eventually, the entire structure collapses. And you are left standing in the rubble, wondering what was real and what was fiction. I knew a man named Vincent who discovered his wife Patricia had been lying about virtually everything for 3 years. She told him she was taking night classes to finish her degree. She was actually meeting a man she had been having an emotional affair with. She told him her mother needed financial help. She was actually spending thousands on designer handbags and hiding them at her sister's house. She told him their son's school needed donations. She was gambling online. When Vincent finally uncovered the truth, the betrayal was so complete, so comprehensive, that he could not trust a single thing she said anymore. Every memory was poisoned. Every conversation was suspect. He realized he had been married to a stranger. The second unforgivable behavior is public humiliation disguised as humor. You know exactly what I'm talking about. She tells embarrassing stories about you at parties. She mocks your hobbies in front of friends. She undermines your authority in front of your children. She makes you the punchline of every joke. And when you object, she tells you that you are too sensitive, that you cannot take a joke. But here's the truth. Every laugh at your expense is not humor. It is dominance. She is elevating herself by tearing you down. She is asserting her power by destroying your reputation. This behavior is particularly insidious because it happens in public with witnesses, which makes it harder for you to defend yourself without looking like the bad guy. The third deal breaker is financial manipulation. This one destroys more marriages than people realize. She hides, purchases, opens secret credit cards, takes loans without your knowledge, spends money you do not have, and then blames you for being controlling when you question it. I know a man named Leonard whose wife Bridget destroyed their financial security over 5 years. Leonard worked 2 jobs to support the family. He was frugal, responsible, always thinking about their future. Bridget told him she was helping with the bills. In reality, she was accumulating over $80,000 in secret debt, shopping spa treatments, expensive dinners with friends she told him she could not afford. When Leonard discovered the truth, they were on the verge of bankruptcy. Their retirement savings were gone. Their son's college fund was empty. And Bridget's response, she blamed Leonard for not making enough money, for being cheap, for not understanding that she deserved nice things. Financial manipulation is not just about money. It is about power and control and a fundamental lack of respect for your partnership. The fourth unforgivable behavior is the abuse cycle. This is the classic pattern that keeps men trapped for decades. She destroys you Monday through Friday, then puts on a grand performance over the weekend. She screams at you, then buys you a gift. She humiliates you, then cooks a romantic dinner. She breaks you down, then builds you up just enough to keep you hoping. This creates what psychologists call a trauma bond. In contrast to the horror, those brief periods of kindness feel like salvation. You get hooked on these good days, not understanding that the very need for recovery means you are being destroyed. Healthy relationships do not need recovery periods. The honeymoon phase after abuse is not love. It is resetting the trap. She is not sorry. She is afraid you will leave. Those romantic gestures are not remorse. They are calculated moves to confuse you and keep you hooked. And with every cycle, the amplitude grows. The lows get lower. The good days get shorter. Eventually, there are no good days left, just bad days and slightly less bad days. I watched this happen to a man named Franklin. Franklin was a veterinarian, gentle soul, deeply empathetic. His wife Natalie would explode over the smallest things. A dish left in the sink, coming home 10 minutes late, forgetting to pick up milk. She would scream, throw things, call him names, tell him he was worthless, stupid, a failure as a husband. Then 3 days later, she would cry and apologize. She would blame her behavior on stress, on her childhood, on her hormones. She would promise it would never happen again. Franklin would forgive her. The cycle would repeat. This went on for 12 years. 12 years of Franklin walking on eggshells, managing her mood, sacrificing his peace to keep the fragile peace in their home. By the time Franklin came to me for advice, he was on medication for anxiety and depression. He had developed stress-related health problems. He barely recognized himself anymore. Now let me tell you why men tolerate these behaviors. The first reason is the sunk cost fallacy. A man thinks, I have invested 10 years in this relationship, I cannot just leave now. But here's the truth. By staying, he will not get those 10 years back. He will simply volunteer to throw away 10 more years, sacrificing his future to an already lost past. The second reason is the fear of being alone. Men are taught that being alone is failure, that a man without a woman is somehow incomplete. But let me tell you something. Being alone is far from the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing is being with someone who makes you feel lonely, worthless, and insane every single day, even while they are sitting right next to you. When you are alone, you can heal. You can breathe. You can rebuild. You are safe. The third reason men stay is hope. Hope that she will change. This hope is fed by her tears, her promises, her explanations about a difficult childhood or work stress. But here is what you need to understand. Explanations are not excuses. Understanding why she does something does not make it acceptable. It does not make it less painful. It does not make it your responsibility to endure. Real change is proven by consistent actions over time, not by words spoken in the heat of the moment, and people do not change because you heroically forgive them. They change because they themselves have made a firm decision to change. Let me tell you what happened to Daniel, the man I mentioned at the beginning. After the hospital incident, Daniel finally left. It was not easy. He struggled with guilt, with doubt, with fear. But he left. 6 months later, I saw Daniel again. He looked different. The weight had lifted from his shoulders. The light had returned to his eyes. He told me I didn't realize how much of myself I had lost until I started getting it back. I didn't know what peace felt like anymore. I thought constant tension was normal. Daniel is now in therapy, working through the trauma, rebuilding his sense of self. He is dating again. But this time, he knows his boundaries. He knows what he will tolerate and what he will not. He knows his worth. Gregory, the teacher. I mentioned he also eventually left. It took him longer because he kept hoping Vanessa would change. But she did not. She could not. Because people who fundamentally disrespect you do not suddenly wake up one day and decide to respect you. Gregory told me recently leaving her was the hardest thing I ever did. But staying would have killed me, maybe not physically, but in every way that matters. So here is my message to you. If you recognize your relationship in these stories, it is not your fault. You cannot love her into becoming a better person. You cannot forgive her into respecting you. Leaving is not failure. It is an act of supreme self-respect. It is the recognition that some things cannot be fixed. The consequences of staying are catastrophic. Your children see this model and absorb it. They learn that this is what relationships look like. Your health collapses from the stress. Your career suffers because you cannot focus. Your spirit dies a little more each day. These unforgivable behaviors are not mistakes. They are choices. And when a woman makes these choices over and over, she is telling you exactly who she is. Believe her. You only get one life. You will not get these years back. You deserve a relationship where respect is the baseline, not a reward for suffering. Where love is a safe harbor, not a battlefield. Stop asking, how can I fix this? Start asking, why am I tolerating this? I know leaving is terrifying. I know you are worried about being alone, about starting over, about what people will think. But let me tell you what is more terrifying. Waking up 20 years from now and realizing you wasted your entire life trying to earn love from someone who was never capable of giving it. The red line exists for a reason. Systematic lying is across that line. Public humiliation is across that line. Financial betrayal is across that line. The abuse cycle is across that line. When someone repeatedly crosses that line, they are showing you that they do not respect boundaries. They do not respect you, and they will not change. Your job is not to save her. Your job is to save yourself. Leaving is not giving up on love. It is giving up on accepting less than love. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the chapter where you are holding the pen. Subscribe if this message resonated with you. Share it with men who need to hear it. Your experience in the comments could be the wake-up call for someone who right now thinks they are just exaggerating. Remember, you deserve better, and better is possible, but it starts with the courage to walk away from what is destroying you. The throne is yours. Take it back.